Hey everybody, so I saw the Dogman movie yesterday. I took my youngest kid to go see it. Now, to put this into perspective, my youngest kid loves Dogman. She loves all the books. She reads them, cover to cover. As soon as she gets a new one, she is enthralled by it. And I'm going to start this off by saying she seemed pretty bored during a lot of the movie. The movie had a lot of grown-up jokes, but it's not like, in movies like Shrek where they add in a little bit of adult humor and it's funny. A lot of the humor in this movie just didn't land. It was almost like somebody was trying to be humorous without, I don't know, it was really weird. They were trying too hard on some of the humor. And if you're not familiar with Dogman, the premise is a bomb goes off and a man's head is not able to be saved and a dog's body's not able to be saved. So they take the dog head and they put it on the human head and you have Dogman. Now in the novels, comics, whatever you want to call them, it's a funny premise. You've got this evil cat named Petey who clones himself, and he's got a little cat named Little Petey. And the books, like I said, the books are really funny. However, this didn't translate well into the movie. The very beginning of the movie, you actually get a connection between Dogman and his human counterpart, Greg. At one point, Greg looks over at Dogman and says, "Hey, if anything ever happens to me, take care of my girlfriend." So after the accident, and you see before they put Dogman and Greg to, their bodies together, they're like, "We can't save the head." And you see Greg just give a thumbs up. So Greg was still alive and they chop off his head. You don't see that part, but essentially they killed Greg to put the dog's head on his body, which was super messed up when you think about it. So then Dogman goes to his former house and they've moved out. And a real estate agent comes up and is like, "Oh yeah, she moved out with her new boyfriend, said she couldn't wait for a half man, half dog." So his entire world is just shattered. And in the first, 10 minutes of the movie, we're not talking about like a Bambi type movie where, Bambi loses his mother, or when I was a kid, what was the other one? Land Before Time, when Littlefoot's, mother again dies. We're just talking about like, this just felt fucked up and not in a good way. And that's kind of how a lot of the movie went. It wasn't, like I said, my kid was really bored and she loves Dogman. A lot of the humor didn't land. The plot didn't make a lot of sense. The plot was kind of just convoluted all over the place. And then it finally rounds the corner and you get, at first, Petey's a big bad guy, and then someone else is the big bad guy, and they have these action sequences with giant buildings, and it just, in my opinion, it looked like somebody that was on an acid trip decided to make a comic book movie. And I know it was written by the same guy that wrote the comics, and again, this might just be one of those things that doesn't translate well. For instance, like Captain Underpants, that translated well into a movie. The movie was actually amusing. But this just, the ideas behind Dogman didn't translate well to the screen. And it doesn't help, you've got Petey who talks, you got Little Petey who talks, you got the Chief who talks, you got everybody that talks, and then all Dogman can do is bark. And again, in the comics, that's fine. In the movie, it's annoying. How much he just, and it's an annoying bark. It just, overall, I wasn't impressed with the movie. And I understand as an adult, it's not made for me. But like I said, my kid was really bored. And you could see that she was bored. She generally doesn't get that bored in a movie. She's 7. And she has no problem. If it's a good movie, she'll sit and watch the whole thing. One of my past reviews was on Moana 2. She thoroughly loved that movie. She was glued to her seat. We've seen several other movies where she's sat through the movie without any issues whatsoever. This one, not so much. She was just bored. And at times, I almost fell asleep a couple times because it was just that boring to me. So the story was kind of all over the place. The animation was good. I'll give it that. I wouldn't go see this unless your kid is like a super Dogman fan. I don't know why any adult would go see this on their own if that's your thing. I'll just be honest, it's a little weird, but okay. But if you can get your kid to calm down and just wait until it comes on whatever streaming platform it's probably going to go on, that's what I would do, because overall, the movie wasn't that enjoyable. There wasn't a lot going on. It was, like I said, it was boring. There were times where there was some action, but that was only like 20 minutes out of the 90 minutes that the movie is. Some of the sound effects were overly loud for no reason whatsoever. It was just like boom, just for that shock value of a sound effect to make everything sound like it was a bigger deal than it was. And again, half the time, not half the time, but when certain things like this happen, my kid's over there just covering her ears, and even I was like, "Ooh, this is pretty loud." And I'm a guy that I worked on loud machinery in the military, so my hearing's not that great. So if I think something's loud, it's pretty friggin' loud. But I'm gonna leave it there. Like I said, Dogman. If I had to give it a number, I'd give it like a 5 or a 6 out of 10. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great either. So I left kind of unimpressed, and like I said, as an adult seeing it, I understand it's a kids movie, but I walked out of Moana 2. I was like, wow, that's actually a pretty good movie. So I can see a movie with my kid and at least be like, well, this is a good movie. Even if I don't like a movie, I'll be able to tell you if it's good or not. And, because I subscribe to the theory that, you can like a bad movie and you can not like a good movie. This just wasn't a good movie. So I don't really recommend going and wasting your money to go to the theater to see it. I highly recommend, if you're going to see it, wait until it goes on a streaming platform. All right, take care.